All right, I am so happy because I had somebody that has subscribed to the channel ask for me to solve this for them because they're struggling with one of their homework assignments. And that's what I do, I help you out. So let's get into it. We've got a quadratic, 1, 2, 3 terms with an exponent of 2 in the front term. We call this ax squared plus bx plus c. This is a standard form of a quadratic equation, and we're gonna solve it using the quadratic formula. If you don't know what the quadratic formula is, I'm going to write it up over here for you. You definitely want to have that in your notebooks if you're going to be using and solving quadratics. So it's negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2a. Now it looks super intimidating at first. I understand that. I know that. I see my kids' faces when they first see it. They're like, how in the world am I supposed to do something like that? All you're doing is plugging in these three numbers in the B, A, and C positions. So what I tell my students to do is this. I say, write the quadratic formula out, but without any variables. Any spot you see a variable, just put an empty set of parentheses. What that would look like is this. It'd be negative b plus or minus the square root of b is supposed to be squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2 times a. Now the more and more you do it, this will start to become clear and you can fly through it much quicker. You just know where things are. You just got to start to work with it, okay? So your first homework assignment is probably going to take you a while. Okay, after you've done 3 or 4 days of this, it starts to all come together and you go much faster through these problems. Okay, now we need to know which one's the A, which one's the B, which one's the C. 4 is A, 32 is B, and negative 62 is C. Got to make sure you have that negative there or it'll throw everything else off. Okay, let's start plugging our numbers in. So if you're not sure what goes there, go to your notes. Oh, it should be the B, so put 32 in place. Okay, what goes there? It should be the B. Put the 32 in place. This is an A, so we're going to use 4. This is a C, so we're going to use negative 62. Always look at the operation in front. It's going to tell you if it's a positive or a negative value. And try not to look up there. Oh, I pointed to it. Your eyes probably just went up there. What's our A value? 4. Okay, now we just got to start to work everything out. So as we go down, we're just going to adjust and change bits and pieces. So I'm going to just change that to a negative 32 plus or minus the square root. I need to figure out what 32 squared is. Okay, so I'll probably just go to a calculator and type 32 times 32. No need to spend a bunch of time figuring that out. 32 times 32 comes out to 1,024. 1,024, okay? Negative 4 times 4 times negative 62. I tell my students just multiply all three together. Make sure you know if it's a positive or negative when you write it down. So I'm going to say negative 62, enter. I got a positive 992. Positive, so put a plus, 992 over 2 times 4, which makes an 8. Okay? All right, so you can always reverse and rewind back in this video to come back to this if you need to, but I'm about to erase this step so I have some room to do some work. Also, so this stands out on the bottom. Okay, one more time. What did we do? We took that negative and attached it to our 32. Plus or minus just got brought down. 32 times 32 makes 1,024. Negative 4 times negative 62 makes 992. 2 times 4 makes the 8. We just simplified all of that. So now we're working with this. Next thing you're going to want to do in your steps is combine those two terms. We need to put the 1,024 together with the 992. So let's go back up here. I'm still going to have negative 32 plus or minus the square root of. Let's add those up. 1,024 plus 992. You can do it both mentally or with the calculator. You're going to get 2,016. Okay, that was a good year for me, 2016. Man, that was a good year. Okay, 8 on the bottom. I'm now done with this. I've simplified those. That's the only thing I changed. So I'm going to erase this work so that we can start working back down again. Okay, now I get to this point. And at this point in time, you want to be able to know some things about perfect square roots. I can just take the square root of this. I'm going to get a really crazy nasty decimal, but I can use it. Or I can simplify my square roots and give my answers like that. Now, I am a big fan of getting exact values. I don't like looking at simplified square roots a lot of times because I'm not really sure, is that worth 8 or 9? I have to do some thinking to figure that out. So more often than not, I tell my students to come to an actual result. I need a number, a decimal, and I tell them to round to the nearest tenth or to the nearest hundredth. So that's what we're going to do here. We'll just round to the nearest hundredth. All right, so the square root of 2016. I'm going to take the square root of 2016 and hold your horses. It's going to get crazy. Square root 2016, and now I'm dealing with 44.899888864. That's crazy, but I'm going to write it, okay? So now I've got negative 32 plus or minus everything. 44.899888864. Okay? Divided by 8. Now just let your calculator do the work. Say negative 32 plus that, and then divide it by 8, and you get your first answer. And then say negative 32 minus all of that, divide it by 8, and you'll get your answer. So just give me 1 second. I want you to do it on your own calculator with me. Here we go. Negative 32 plus 44.899888864, enter. Okay? What I end up getting is 12.899888864, but I still haven't divided by 8. Divided by 8, enter, and I got, so when I did addition, I got 1.6124868. Round to the nearest tenth. That 1 tells me to keep it a 6. So one of my answers is 1.6. Oh yeah, perfect for the video. Okay, I'm going to circle it. I got one of my answers, but we know quadratics usually have 2 answers because we're going to cross that x-intercept twice. We'll be crossing at positive 1.6. Now we're going to use subtraction with this value. So I say negative 32 minus 44.899888864. I always like to double check my calculator, make sure it all matches up. Hit enter, divide it by 8, hit enter again, and you're going to get negative 9.6124868. But if we're rounding to the nearest tenth, I could have stopped right there. I don't need any more information past the 1. The 1 is going to tell me to do what with the 6? You betcha. Keep it a 6. So there's the 2 places our quadratic would be crossing the x-axis. We'd be crossing at positive 1.6 if that's 1 and that's 2. We'd be right about there. Negative 9.6, if that's negative 10 and that's negative 9, we'd be right about there. Okay, and because a is a positive value, we know it would be opening up. I don't know where the vertex is, but I do know my solutions are at 1.6 and negative 9.6. If you want to figure out where the vertex is, stop on by to one of my other videos. I'll make sure to show you how to do that. Study hard and good luck on your upcoming test.